This is Bill Johnson and Eddie Pazmiño. We just want to say a few words about the effect of roughness on the XDLVO profiles and to make note of an issue that arises if you've got strong steric interactions. So Eddie, why don't you lead him through the roughness piece?
Okay, hello. Yeah, so we generate these profiles, these force profiles, for a spherical colloid and a flat surface. That's what we have. The SP stands for a sphere plate interactions using our XDLVO module from Parti-Suite. So in the left one, we have the smooth scenario where all the surfaces are completely smooth, and we can see the combined effect of all the LVO profiles in the dash line. And we have a barrier above 4 nanometer, and they have this deep primary minimum. And notice that for this case, we have no steric effect. We deactivate steric, and we have the yellow profile completely in 0, so it has no effect. In the right side, we have the effect of the same system. We have a around 2 micron colloid, and we add 20 nanometer asperities in the surface of the colloid. And the effect of the asperities actually reduces the interactions and reduces the height of the barrier. I don't really want to add something else.
Oh, it's just that it also reduces the depth of the primary minimum.
Yeah.
So all forces are being reduced, both attractive and repulsive.
All right, so that's what is expected of the effect of roughness. And the comparison we're doing here is we're adding increasingly size of asperities. So in the next image, as you can see, we add 100 nanometer asperities, and the interactions for to reduce the barrier is of lesser height, and the primary minimum is not too deep, it's lesser deep.
Yeah.
All right, then we start increasing the asperities, and we go to 500 nanometers, and we see now the barrier bounce back a little bit, it becomes more significant, and the minimum also deepens more. And the reason for this happening is because now the asperities start to be in the same scale relative to the colloid size, so they start acting as another colloid now. And if we further to increase asperities like 1000 nanometer, we are bouncing back to the original case. That's going to be about 2000 nanometer, and that's the effect of roughness. The radius of curvature actually is making the interactions of lesser intensity, but if this radius increases again, the interactions become more important again, and we are going back to the smooth case.
Great, yeah, and that non-monotonic impact of asperity size is well known, well described in the literature, just showing you here that it's accounted for in Parti-Suite. But we wanted to show you something to consider based on the default values that we provide in Parti-Suite. And so Eddie, why don't you lead them through that real quick?
Yeah. So in the very last scenario, now we activate the steric, and I guess Bill, you want to explain more in deep what's happening when we have this orange profile now being really important, and that's the steric interaction. What actually is happening when we combine this with a smooth and rough surface?
Right. And so the point is it's dominant, and so when you add roughness, going from the left panel to the right panel, because the other forces have been decreased by the reduced radius of curvature, the steric becomes dominant. And so the primary minimum actually disappeared. So that's the impact you have when steric is that important in your system. And in these carboxylate modified latex polystyrene microspheres interacting with glass, we've backed out in detachment experiments done by Kurt Van Ness the fact that there has to be a strong steric component, otherwise they wouldn't detach. And so whether or not it's truly steric that's causing that or some other interaction, time will only tell, but right now we're using steric to represent it. So be aware of that using the default parameters, because you might be surprised to see the primary minimum disappear when you add roughness, but that's because the steric is dominant. Anything else to add, Eddie?
Oh yeah, just take in mind that the steric interaction is one of the forces that actually allow us to explain these detachment experiments. But this is just a simplification of what's happening, because in the literature, you go deeper into it, you will see that a closer separation distance, things like water structuring make this force oscillatory, like increasing and decreasing with separation distance that matches the size of a water molecule. But that's a more in-depth detail explanation that you want. For transport purposes, steric does the job. but just keep in mind that it's just simplification of all the effects that happen in the really, really almost contact separation distance.
And just keep in mind, everybody, that if you run into any problems, you're always welcome to contact us. We like to help people work through things that don't make sense. Sometimes we even find problems, right? Mistakes. So we're welcome. You're welcome to contact us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.